We are live from Radio Row, previewing Super Bowl 58 on the anniversary of Todd Davis and the Denver Broncos becoming Super Bowl champs. And Todd is showing off that nice ring of his.
Yeah, that makes you pretty popular. Like, we go out and everybody's like, ooh, that's a nice ring over there. Like, oh, some lucky dice. Look at that ring.
Yeah. Didn't work. The luck wasn't there.
Oh, no. Lost a lot of money.
Maybe
again.
It's tonight. Maybe this is the anniversary. I feel like
I will say, Todd let me wear the ring, which I feel blessed. And I would have never thought. That thing is huge, heavy, and I don't know how Todd wears it around everywhere he goes during this week.
Just this week.
Is the right bicep stronger because of it
just
than the
finger.
left?
This is
just the finger. Wow. Okay. Which one is that? Oh man, 8 years ago, Todd. What was it like?
It was great. It really doesn't feel like it was 8 years ago. Like, I think back and I remember all the different moments from Super Bowl 50, knowing we were going to win it. I brought my phone out at halftime and gave it to a trainer because I knew by halftime we were winning the game. So I think I was one of the only people on the field with my phone. But it was a great day. Walking out as a captain, middle of the Super Bowl, Cam standing there shaking, knees are shaking. I knew it was over.
He's been walking around this morning, too.
Oh, yeah, I know. We got to have a reunion.
Better watch out, yeah.
I did see you walked by and he kind of shivered.
He remembered. The PTSD is real, man.
Well, back-to-back games, too, because then you stared 2016 by just destroying them again.
Yep. That was a great game.
And they knew it was coming again because, do you remember who was their coach? Ron Rivera was just complaining all offseason, like, we won the NFC. Why can't we be playing at home to start? Because they didn't want another piece of you, Todd.
No, not at all. Not at all. That was my first official full-time starting game.
Oh, wow.
2016.
Yeah.
Yep,
like, I was the starter after that.
Because, man, not a bad back-to-back games.
Not at all.
Super Bowl 50 captain walking out onto the field. Who was it? It was you, Peyton, DeMarcus, Vaughn.
And Kayvon.
And Kayvon.
Yeah.
Was that it? No, DT?
DT
was the offense, so
McManus?
2 offense, 2 defense, 2 special teams?
No B-Mac, huh?
That's when B-Mac, became B-Mac, was that run. He was 10 for 10 in the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl. But before then, I think he came in 2014 was when he signed with the Broncos. Or maybe even 2015 was his first full year as a starter. Yeah, he was not the Brandon McManus that, he became to be.
Yep.
It was that run.
Progress.
Remember, he was in the practice squad, got released, and then he got brought back, and that's when he took over the starting job.
Man.
Oh, dang, I had no clue.
Yep. Undrafted guys, man. They do something,
Just
don't they?
Just the best, aren't we?
Oh, are we undrafted too? Henry and I are undrafted.
Technically, you guys are undrafted.
Look at this. 3 undrafted guys just hanging out talking ball.
Wow. Just some bros talking ball.
Wow. Oh, yeah. We could even include you here in that too.
No, do not include me in that.
So, wait, you said something. And by the way, welcome into the DNVR Broncos podcast. We've got a loaded show today. So many guests to preview, or to preview, I guess, this upcoming season, and to also look back at Super Bowl 50. But you said something that I want to touch on, Todd. You said we knew we were going to win. Yep. When did you know you were going to win?
At the beginning of the year. And that's the thing that I tried to talk about with the Broncos in this season. Like, when you know you're going to win a Super Bowl, you're talking about it the entire year. Like, really, after we lost that game but the year before against the Colts, I think that's when, realistically, I think that's when we were like, all right, next year is our year. Like, there's no way we're going to lose again in the playoffs, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. And so the whole offseason was all Super Bowl talk. It was on the top of all of our goals and our checklist. Like, it's very different than how it is for the Broncos now, because now, their goals are have a winning season, make the playoffs. Ours was we're gonna win the Super Bowl, and there's nothing else on this list. That's the only thing we need.
So you guys weren't talking about let's not allow a team to score 70 on us this year.
No, we didn't have to say that one.
Man, that and it is actually talked about. In the locker room with the guys.
Yeah, and so that's why I feel like when you're in a position to do good, I think everybody knows it and they can sense it, and you're not afraid to talk about it. You're not afraid to look at the standings, because you need to know. We're fighting for the #1 seed in the AFC. We got to see who or how the Patriots are doing. We got to stay up to date, because, our goal is the Super Bowl.
When the offense was struggling, Like, because going into that, like, you'd had, like, 3 great years of Peyton Manning. That season is when it all kind of fell apart. Like, did you ever have, like, a moment there, like, 4 weeks in where you're like, wait, this isn't working. What if it doesn't get fixed?
No, I think we always felt like we were going to find a way. No matter what, we were going to find a way. And then the thing about the offense is it didn't work, but the times it did, like, we needed it. You know what I'm saying? So it never let us down in the crunch times, and it came through So for us, like, that was the biggest thing. Like, just find a way to come through. We'll hold it down as long as we have to. You guys, if we need 7 points in the fourth quarter and you guys go get it, that's all that matters. We got the win.
Yep.
So what breakfast did you eat that day? No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah, it's not a good question.
Like I try to do like an omelet, like an egg white omelet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Stay
no
light.
yolks on game day.
No yolks. Yeah.
Wow.
Because he's got all the yolks he needs right here,
Exactly.
baby. He's already got those.
Yoked up.
Okay.
Doesn't
on
want to
that
be too
finger.
yoked up.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens if you're too yoked up?
What happens?
You get drug tested,
Yeah.
like right after a game.
And the cholesterol.
Yeah. Or if you just have too good of a game, like, you know, like all of a sudden you go for 220 rushing yards. You're like, hey, we got to test this
Did you
guy.
ever have one of those?
What?
Like
test?
a drug test that was like after a good game?
Like after shutting down Derrick Henry or
Probably
something?
at some point
Yeah.
in my career, I definitely had one of them 4 a.m. where you get back and you got to wait there to pee. Somebody's looking over your shoulder and you're
gosh.
like,
That was
you never get used to that.
that was Henry last night to me. It was
Yeah.
weird. I'm like, what are
That's
we
not
doing,
true.
man?
That's not true. I
But
did send a great Snapchat though, because the media party last night, the urinals, they had like whatever the thing is inside. It was sponsored by Brady, so it just said Brady in there. And
so you were
like,
peeing on the Brady's.
yeah, so I took a little Snapchat and said like, this one's for Tom.
Oh, dang.
You know what should have been your game day meal? Factor, our presenting sponsor. You got to check out our friends over at Factor. We are so grateful for them because they are allowing us to be here. Use the code DNVR Broncos 50 over at factormeals.com to get 50% off your first order. So I want to give a shout out to them at the top of our show as they are our presenting sponsor. And then Todd, what was the best part? Was it that day? Was it the night before when the epic speeches were given? Was it the day? Probably not the day after. I can't imagine that was the most fun day. Was it the parade? What was the best part? When you look back and think back of Super Bowl 50, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is the confetti and the Lombardi trophy and all the friends and family on the field. Because all your, I don't know how they make their way down there, but like my dad, my mom, my dad like picked me up. I'm like, hey, I'm a grown man now. I think just a celebration right after the game. And I don't even know how long we were down there, but it felt like we were down there for forever. Like you don't want to leave the field, at that moment. Took some like confetti, put it in my pocket.
Where's it
definitely
now?
have some memories. I just gone.
yeah. Because we figured out you were 23 at the time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I just thought that was like my life, like Super Bowl every other year.
Man, players say that. Young players say that all the time. And old players, especially like DeMarcus.
Yeah.
I think he was someone that was one of his big rallying cries throughout that season for you guys, especially in the playoffs, was like, hey, young pups like Todd Davis, you're not going to be here every single year. Even though it seems easy, you're not going to have Peyton, you're not going to have Vaughn, you're not going to have DeMarcus, you're not going to have this great offense and then an outstanding defense.
Yeah, you're like, old man, that's how it was in your day. But then you come back there fairly quick, and so it didn't happen like that. But I'm blessed to have one. A lot of people have none, so.
Like
I'm
me.
gonna wear this ring forever for sure.
Yeah. Well, we haven't asked about Wednesday of Super Bowl week. Was there anything notable that happened on Wednesday of Super Bowl week?
There was a little bit of an issue. It wasn't a full scuffle, but it was like a little bit of an issue. With the team and my teammates, it was like Wednesday, and we were going over special team stuff, and guys were looking at the like cards to understand the plays.
Yeah.
And I was like frustrated, like, guys, we're about to play the Super Bowl in like 3 days. Like, it's time for you to step it up. And so things got a little hot at practice for just a little bit.
Somebody didn't like the 23-year-old special teams captain who's undrafted stepping in there.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
What you got to do.
And
We're talking about a big time game, Super Bowl 50, and we've got a big time guest. Actually, the first big time guest of the show's history. We got Tom Pelissero joining us right now.
The first one in history? Well, I'm sorry to let you guys down here.
I mean, so many years ago, Tom, you were nice enough to join us, and we always love spending time with you. And today is the 8-year anniversary of Todd Davis and the Denver Broncos winning Super Bowl 50, becoming champs. What do you remember about that game?
I remember Von Miller rolling up to the podium post-game, like taking off his shoes and doing it in his socks because he had done a lot of work in the course of that game. I just remember waiting him out. Yeah, I mean, it was such a unique year because, this was not the Peyton Manning who had thrown 50 touchdown passes, a few years earlier. This was Peyton had missed a bunch of time. He had the foot injury, and Brock Osweiler was playing down the stretch. Peyton comes back in at the end of the season. He didn't have the arm anymore. He really struggled to get the football out there, but the defense was so good. And offensively, it was just he did enough. He was willing himself. Every time he reared back, I thought his arm was going to come off and go with the football. But he found ways. He was so crafty, at that stage in his career, and it was a perfect way for him to go out.
It really was. And now when we talk about this and talk about how the team evolved from the 2013 offense that was record-breaking to then the defense that was able to win the championship, it makes me think of these Chiefs and how they've evolved. How do the Broncos evolve to keep up with the team like the Chiefs with the reality of Mahomes being here for a long time?
Well, that's the issue is, there were some really good AFC East teams over the course of Tom Brady's career, and it's hard when that guy's in your division. It's hard to break through. So, and the entire division now, especially, obviously Sean Payton being in Denver, but you got Andy Reid, you have Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, and then you've got this, the unknown of, we know how the Raiders finished under Antonio Pierce, but he's, very new to the coaching game, so we'll see how that piece of it plays out, but it looks like one of the toughest, if not the toughest division in the NFL right now. So, the biggest thing for the Broncos is just figure out the quarterback, because we talk about that was Peyton Manning's last game in Super Bowl 50. And, 8 years later, you've gone through a dozen. I don't know what the total number of starting quarterbacks is, but a lot. A big move, which I understood at the time why they were doing it, to go get Russell Wilson for a variety of reasons to this point. That has not worked out. Until you are able to get a quarterback in, it's just hard to compete, especially when you've got maybe the greatest player we've ever seen in the same division.
Yeah. I totally agree, and I feel like with the division being so tough, I feel like that's what you don't want. You almost want the cakewalk to the AFC Championship where everybody's healthy. Now they're going to be battle tested, but I think they're going to be dinged up a little bit having to go against such great coaching, such great competition for multiple games throughout the season.
Yeah.
Where do the Broncos go from here with Russell Wilson? Because Sean told us at the end of the season that they're going to make a decision sooner than later. He's going to let Russ know right when he knows. And we're now a month away from that conversation. Is there any chance Russ is back, or are they just waiting for the right time, you think?
Well, they've got to figure out what their plan is, I think, first and foremost. And there's money that's already locked in for 2024. So that's... that's on the books. All you're talking about is, I think it's the third day of the league year, right, where the additional guarantee for 25 triggers. So you've got time. I don't think, and I'm not speaking for the organization here, for Sean or George or anybody else, but I would think this is not a situation where you're going to, give him a big send-off and let's release him early on so he can, go find his new team. I mean, based on how things played out, and based on the type of things that were being said by various sources close to Russell Wilson last year about everybody in the Broncos organization, I don't think they really owe him anything at this point. I do think that to the extent that Russell Wilson could still be a starting quarterback somewhere in the NFL, if you are, in fact, going to move on from him, it would probably behoove the organization to do that sooner than later, to hope Russ then takes up one of the spots that otherwise might be competing with you for, whether it's in the draft or a trade or free agency, competing for a different quarterback.
Where do you think he's going to go? But also, what do you think would be the most fun? Which team would you want to see him go to and compete with?
I mean, there's so many teams that don't have a guy right now. I mean, the most fun would be he goes to Vegas and then plays the Broncos.
That is the answer.
That would be nerve-wracking.
That would be pretty awesome. But no, I mean, it's hard because he didn't play bad last year. He certainly played better than he did the previous season. He had lost weight. It sounds like all the, the personality stuff, the leadership, all that was improved from where it had been the previous year. But it took such a weird turn, and the Broncos approach him with the type of offer that in their minds would actually keep him with the Broncos into 2024. It would dramatically, at minimum, raise the chances he was still on the team. And Russ and his agent, who only has one client and really hasn't gone through any sort of adversity from a contract perspective in the past, said, no, and, consulted the PA, which is a fairly common thing. The Broncos consulted the NFL Management Council. Again, these are all normal things. And then it got blown up into this, Russell the martyr, and look what they did to him. And it's they came to him. Contracts get adjusted. You know this all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes it's a pay cut. Sometimes it's, hey, we move this around. We need the flexibility. But those conversations only happen if they're trying to keep you. If they wanted to just get rid of you, they would go, you're out.
Right.
You're gone. We're going to cut you. That's the thing that got miscast about this entire deal. This was a plan to try to go, hey, we do need the flexibility because we don't know what's going to happen in 2025. But if we can adjust this and push back the vesting date, then you'll be the quarterback in 2024. He said Russell still get his money because they owe him all that money. But is he playing football or is he collecting that watching games at home like us?
Right.
Is there any way to salvage this relationship? I feel like every team has issues, and the longer you play in the league, you realize not every head coach likes every quarterback that they've ever had. Was this too public for them to kind of get back to a common ground and then put together a good season?
Well, that's the issue, is the public part of this. And this became such a big deal, and there was so much misinformation that was being leaked out from, I can't say for certain who it was, but certainly appears to be coming from the quarterback side. It becomes harder to put that toothpaste back in the tube now. But to the extent that Russell Wilson's best chance to start somewhere in the NFL this year might be in Denver, and that the Broncos have relatively little flexibility from just a cap perspective. In other words, Russell Wilson's taking up the same amount on the cap, or if not more, by being off the team than he is on the team. So that's money out the door. So would you rather he plays and for one more year, and then you can draft the guy and you can develop him, whatever, or would you rather just cut ties? That's where they're not ruling anything out, because organizationally, there's only so much you can do. Now, you could make some trades. They got calls on Surtain last year. They obviously had talks on Judy, Sutton. Like, there's all kinds of guys you potentially could move on from, get more resources, make a big, bold move to trade up in the draft, which Sean Payton's never been shy about borrowing future resources to try to win right now. But it's still hard, and you still owe Russell Wilson that money, minus whatever offsets he would get if he goes to some other team. That's where I don't think that anything is completely off the table, but fair to say that it would be surprised if he comes back.
You mentioned the draft. Is that the area, if it's not Russell Wilson coming back, do you think that's the area they find their quarterback this year?
I mean, I think that's the way you would ideally like to build it, but having said that, Sean Payton hasn't had a whole lot of rookie quarterbacks through the course of his career. He got Drew Brees, from the Chargers several years into his career, and that was mainly his guy. And even when he had to start somebody else, it was, Taysom had been there a while. Jameis was a veteran by the time he got to New Orleans. He hasn't, had to do it. I think that, Sean's inclination, listen, they went into Week 18 last year preparing like it was the Super Bowl. Sean didn't want 8-9 on his record. He wanted to go 9-8. This all matters to Sean. He wants to win now. And just like you saw last year with McGlinchey, where, hey, offensive line, we got to fix this right now. We're going to spend whatever it takes, get him in here. We really want Riley Moss in the draft. Fine, we'll go up next year's 3 and this year's 3 and go get him. When he sees something he wants and he thinks this is going to help you win, he's not afraid to give up whatever it takes. The quarterback position is hard, man. And whether you are moving up for a quarterback in the draft or you're trading assets for a veteran, which I don't know how many veterans would really make a ton of sense in Denver. I mean, the main free agents are Kirk Cousins, who's going to get a lot of money, Baker Mayfield, who certainly seems like he's inclined to go back to Tampa at this point. It's Ryan Tannehill, who's available for a reason. In Sean Payton's mind, does he even regard like a Tannehill as a Baker as a big upgrade over a Jarrett Stidham, who you've got on the cheap right now? Or can you just roll with Stidham for now and draft a guy or 2 guys and develop them? These are all the conversations they got to kind of have as they move forward here. Big picture, you'd love to get the veteran player, or you'd rather get the rookie for the long haul. But again, Sean's not really dealt with rookie quarterbacks a whole lot through the course of his career. So some interesting decisions ahead.
If the Broncos decide they do want to go the rookie route, and so you start by moving on from Russell Wilson, that would only leave Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci on the roster. Do you think they just ride with those two going all the way to the draft, or do you think they try to clean that up a little bit beforehand with another veteran? Or
are you asking if Ben DiNucci is going to be the number 2 quarterback for the Broncos in 2024?
I'm really hoping you're going to say no.
I mean, DiNucci, hey, he had that start against the Eagles back in it was a little beyond him at that point. But he's hung, credit to him. He's hung in the league for a while here because there is something with him. He just, coming from the program he did and everything, like you gotta put in some time on task.
Yep.
No, I think that. I mean, the Russell thing has to play out by mid-March. Again, they could take another swing at trying to get him to adjust his contract. There's no way he's coming back on the existing contract because then 2025 will vest. That's off the table, which again is why they approached him proactively once before training camp and then again at the bye week to try to do something. If Russ surveys the landscape and realizes this is his best chance to start, maybe he comes back. If not, those decisions are going to be made, I would think, before the start of free agency. Again, because if you're the Broncos, you have a vested interest in Russ landing somewhere, not just because you get out from under a little bit of the money, but also that takes out one team you're competing against.
Yep.
I would think that you've got some type of answers there. If they don't make a move for another player in the early stages of free agency, that's where I think the realistic possibility becomes they're going to draft somebody, roll with Stidham for 2024.
Tom, this has been awesome. My last question for you, George Payton's future, what do you think it looks like? And it does appear that he is part of this, and how key is that continuity between Sean and George?
I know Sean and George worked well together last year. Sean's got a very clear vision of what he wants it to look like. I know he just brought in one of his guys from the Saints here. We'll see over the course of time how all that stuff develops. George Payton's still highly respected within the league. If at any point he became available to go someplace else, he'd have another job in about 10 seconds here. So those are all, inner building dynamics that'll have to play out here. But if you're Greg Penner and you're the ownership group too, I think there's something to be said for kind of having a dynamic where it's not Sean running everything all the time on his own, which was kind of how at times it was in New Orleans here, having kind of a counterbalance. George is an easy guy to work with. He's obviously, well-versed in draft, pro personnel, everything else. Those are all things that I think we'll be talking about maybe after the draft.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for your time. You're the ultimate insider. I'm sure you hear this all the time, but it feels like you're texting me all the time because I got Twitter notifications on for you.
I
So
appreciate that.
thank you so much,
you
Tom.
got it, man.
Thanks for the
Thanks,
insight.
Appreciate it.
Man, awesome insight there from about what Russell Wilson could do, George Payton's future, and he said something very, very straightforward. Russell Wilson is not coming back on this contract, but Todd, you asked a great question. Maybe there is still some wiggle room there for Russ to come back if he's willing to delay guarantees.
Yep.
Would you do that if you're a player? Is there any incentive or reason for Russ to do that?
I don't think so, and not when it's that much money.
Yeah.
I think, they signed the contract. It looks really good for me right now, and for players, I think you have to work hard to get in this position to have the contract in your favor. So I think now that he's finally in this position, I don't see him giving it up. And I definitely wouldn't myself. Take a pay cut for what? Are we winning the Super Bowl next year, or are you guys going to, re-sign me to another 4-year deal to where it makes sense to take a pay cut this year? If not, run me my money.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't take a pay cut to work with me or anything?
I'm doing
wow.
that.
I'm pretty damn certain you took a pay cut from being a Bronco to being here.
Just a little bit.
If not, I need to talk to someone about my contract. One thing I don't need to talk to anyone about is our friends over at Factor Meals, because I know how damn delicious Factor Meals is, because they've got the best meat out there, the juiciest meat, the biggest meat, the freshest meat, and you can get it over at Factor Meals. If you don't want meat, though, they have vegan options. They have vegetarian options. Their food is healthy, delicious, fresh, and it ships straight right to your door. So you can get Factor Meals 50% off by using the code DNVR Broncos 50 over at factormeals.com/DNVR Broncos 50. We truly do love Factor Meals. We know you're going to love it too. And we're also very thankful for them being our presenting sponsor for us being out here.
Totally. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but the 49ers are playing the Chiefs this weekend. It's a big game.
So, yep.
In the big game?
Some would say the big game. How long till that gets trademarked? The big game.
Really, it is ridiculous that a product is so big that the NFL doesn't want people using the name. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is.
If you were no, you can't call me Todd Davis because my name is so big.
Wow.
What? Instead we have to call you
Chosen.
Chosen Davis?
Yeah.
Are you changing your name?
Huh?
Wow.
I wonder how hard the paperwork is. You know what I'm saying? I would have to look
it's pretty quick.
and see. It's quick?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My mom's
maybe.
an attorney. She used to do all that stuff.
It's just a whole bunch of name changes?
Yeah. So
Sounds like you can get it for free too.
Actually, yeah. But yeah, so the thing is, like, before you turn 18, it's super cheap. But then after that, it becomes like more expensive. But it's nothing crazy. It's like a few $100. What we can say is that Bet365 exists and it's awesome. And if you want to make a bunch of money or make all your money back, you've got that opportunity this weekend. If you want to go over there and use the code DNVR365, you can get $5 in bonus bets for every touchdown scored when you wager $50 more on a same-game parlay on San Francisco at Kansas City, or get $2 in bonus bets for every touchdown when you wager $20 or more on an SGP. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe every sport should be epic. Right now, new customers can choose between these two offers when they open an account at Bet365 and use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Whatever the sport, whatever the amount, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Oh my goodness!
I think that's
Henry.
it.
Do we not
You
have
did it. No, you did it.
We don't have to do the whole big
There's a little
yeah.
bit. There's a little
There it
bit.
is.
You got to do a little bit.
Must be 21 or over, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. We had an almost teammate of yours on yesterday, Todd.
Yes.
Now we actually have a former teammate of yours joining us right now, but not a former NFL teammate.
Yep.
We're going back to Sac State.
Sac
baby.
State's finest right here.
Let's go.
It's my brother DeAndre Carter in
My
the building.
dog, Todd.
You know what I'm
Big
saying?
dog, big dog.
Appreciate
Yes,
you
sir.
coming
Yes,
through.
sir.
Thank you for being on. You know, we had to go behind the enemy line. See, you are technically a Raider.
I am a Raider.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But we won't hold that against you for the next 15 minutes. And we got a Big Sky connection. My guy Henry
yeah.
went to Montana,
Okay.
so he
Yeah,
talks
go
a lot.
Grizz.
He talks a lot of mess, bro.
That's crazy.
Hey, you don't have to be
do.
nice to
That's
him.
Easy to do.
We got to get back on the rise. I know
Yeah,
our
we
boys
got
kind of
to.
slipped up a little
This
bit.
year we
but
did a little
We're
bit,
gonna
yeah.
do it. We're gonna do
We're
it.
on the way back.
So what do you enjoy most about your time as a Raider? Don't say beating the Broncos. Just speak on something else. But what do you enjoy?
I'm gonna lead off with beating the Broncos.
Oh,
I'm
man.
gonna lead off with beating the Broncos. But I would say the fan base is crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. And I'm from the Bay Area, so I was there when we was in Oakland. And
Yeah.
you ever been to the game in the Coliseum, man? That's different there for sure. I know you played there, Ty. It's different there. But the fan base is cool, and I love living in Vegas. Like. So much stuff you could do here. Like you could be in the mix if you want to.
Yeah.
If you don't, you can stay out the way. You know what I'm saying? I think our team, we on the rise right now. Got a great hire in AP, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah. How do you feel about AP? I know that a lot of guys in the locker room really pushing for him to be the head coach. Is that still the consensus? Is everybody happy with the decision the team made?
For sure. We juice about it. You know what I'm saying? He's a dude that played before, had a long career in the league, successful career in the league. So he can relate to us as players on that level. You know what I'm saying? He know what we go through on a day-to-day basis. He a real dude. You know what I'm saying? And even the way that he played, tough, hard-nosed, hit you in the mouth. And that's kind of, Raider Nation. That's kind of, the way, we try to play, the Raider way. So he's definitely the right guy for the job, and I'm excited to see, what this look like next year.
Yeah.
You're saying former linebackers that have won Super Bowls can become head coaches?
Todd Davis. Todd Davis.
Maybe after my contract is up.
You know what I'm saying?
What does he say about the Broncos? I'm curious because he's been a Raider guy his whole life. Like, he's
Yeah.
from Long Beach. Like,
Yeah.
he's been all about that. And that's that rivalry, especially when he
sure.
was young, like, that was massive.
Yeah.
Has he spoken about that at all?
Other than like the week that we played them, it's it's a rivalry game, and if you ever been on a team against a rivalry, that week is we hate that squad. You know what I'm saying? I know we got Bronco viewers, but
No, but like I have a deep hate for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Not you. I always want to see you
For
do
sure,
well,
for sure.
But everybody else,
On me. So it's it's that rivalry. It's a healthy rivalry. I think we done won a few in a row here, but we'll get back.
Oh man.
You're being nice saying a few.
Won a few times. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, since we're talking about AP and new head coaches, Harbaugh is just coming to the division. Sean Payton's in the division.
Yeah.
Andy Reid is in the division. Are you looking at this coaching landscape and be like, man, it's gonna get tough for a couple years?
It's tough. You know what I'm saying? We got, like you said, great coaches all throughout the division.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see what it looks like, what it's going to turn out to be. I think Sean Payton did a great job this year with the Broncos. Considering it being his first year with the team and everything like that. So I think the AFC West is going to be a division that's going to make some noise here in the next few years for sure.
You said you believe the Raiders are on the up.
Yeah.
Why?
I think we got the right guy, at the head now. And I think even last year, I think you've seen once AP became the coach, the style that we played.
Totally.
It just turned around. You know what I'm saying? The guys went out there, we played with a lot more energy. We went out there and we felt like we was playing for AP. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I think our roster, the way it's currently constructed, we got a really good roster on both sides of the ball. So as long as we can keep the train going, get the right people in the right spots, I think Reggie's gonna make some noise here soon.
It's funny because you say you got the right guy now. What was wrong with the last guy?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, hey, no. Look, I got a lot of respect for Josh McDaniel. That's my guy. He gave me an opportunity to come to this organization, and play here. And he's one of the better football minds in the National Football League. Like, he knows football in and out. I don't say there was nothing wrong with him. I think it just wasn't a great fit. That's all it is. And sometimes you go to a situation and it don't work out for you. And I think that's all it was. Unfortunate. It just, but I think things happen the way they're supposed to.
I asked that question because I would say he's not the most liked by Broncos country. So
yeah, I know he had a head coach team. He had a head coach in Denver too. Yeah, he had a head coach team there too.
Not super popular.
Maybe
you were
the
the
least
Chargers.
liked.
Yeah, maybe.
Were you at the Chargers right before you came to
last
Vegas?
year.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's that like? Like, did you hate the Raiders when you were playing for the Chargers, and all of a sudden you're here?
I think it's kind of like you become part of an organization, and you go through, OTAs and your training camp with your brothers and stuff like that, the blood and the sweat and stuff like that, and you kind of try to take on the persona of the organization, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, once you do that and you put the time in, it's very easy to fall into, I'm part of this organization, like, we hate this team. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard at all for me to jump into a rivalry and be about it for sure.
Awesome.
Do you guys think that rivalries exist more in college than in the NFL? Because I've heard some people say that and some people push back against that.
I think it's a little bit bigger in college. Like, there's definitely rivals in the NFL for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same magnitude as college, because I think, college, they get 100,000 people at their games.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? The alumni that's been going through that organization,
Hatred.
through that
Generations of hatred.
generation of hatred.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They, the mom had a kid, and right when it came out, like, we don't like this school. We don't like this school. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a little more tradition, with the college teams, but it's on both sides for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like most of the time, like, especially for us as players, like, I may dislike a team, but I know like 15 or 20 guys.
Dudes on other teams that you
I
want to
don't
see
really
win.
hate them, you know what I'm saying?
And they might pay you in the future.
Man, you don't want to close any doors.
Don't close no doors.
Exactly.
You've left the one for the Broncos maybe open. We gonna see you stop in Denver?
Hey, I don't know. I had a very good conversation with Sean Payton prior to signing with the Raiders. Not saying that was coming anytime soon, but I never close the door on any team in the league.
I love it.
We're going to talk to Sean. We got you. We need you in that orange and blue for sure.
Who is Sac State's biggest rival? Is that like Cal Poly?
What? UC Davis.
UC Davis. Is it what? There's like the three California teams, right?
UC, yeah, there is.
UC Davis.
Yeah, UC Davis. Causeway Classic.
Causeway Classic.
Yeah, Causeway Classic.
Huh, okay.
It's a big time game. You don't know about it. It's better than the Montana Showdown, Hoedown, whatever y'all call it.
What y'all call it?
Brawl
So
of the
you
Wild.
can't even.
Wow, that was
Bro,
embarrassing,
bro,
honestly.
They had game
He didn't
day out
even
there
know.
for it last year.
They did.
But it was awesome.
It's not as big as Sac Davis. That's all I'm saying.
We gotta go watch. Convince me.
Okay, we can do it.
Do we play you guys this year?
You got it, yeah. Because they were Missoula last year. I'd imagine it's Sacramento this year.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all got to pull up
get
to
there.
that game.
We really
Exactly,
should have done that.
exactly.
We really should have done that because it was the bye week too.
Yeah.
It would have been so easy.
Should have pulled up.
Next time we go. Well, thank you for coming on.
Oh,
brother.
yeah.
I appreciate
Y'all
you
for
having
having
me on.
me.
Sac State's finest. You know what I'm
Sac
saying?
Thanks so much.
Todd Davis Super Bowl champion. Sac State great. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for having me on. For sure.
I love
for sure.
it.
Yeah,
I
thank
love
you,
Take
it.
care, fellas.
That's a great man. I love what he's doing in the league, and hopefully one day we get him in the orange or blue.
Or
Man.
at least just out of the Raider gear. Wow.
That was a big sigh there, Henry.
Well, it's a
Do
shame because usually we get to see the chat.
you want to
I'm
tell
wondering
the
what
people?
the chat is saying about like a Raider. Do we now have Raider fans in there?
Oh, no. It's probably
All
heating
right.
up.
First thing was Henry somehow is still Mr. Irrelevant, even if he was undrafted.
Oh, dang.
That was my favorite comment of the day.
There we go. Funny.
Somebody said,
You're young
I
Brock
can.
Purdy. You're a young Brock Purdy.
Somebody said, I can boo the man, but I can boo the team, but not the man. Look at this
Wow.
man right here. Look at this gorgeous man.
This is not irrelevant. No, I'm like, this is super. Everywhere I go, people are going to be staring at me in this thing. Yeah.
Looks good on you.
No.
Trying to be nice.
That's very nice of you. First one all week to be
It
nice.
looks like it fits very normally on you.
Because I have a big head.
That's
yeah.
what she said.
Oh my goodness, you two had too many Breckenridge beers last night. Actually, not you two, just Henry specifically.
Yeah.
I did not know if he was going to be on this show because of the number of Breckenridge beers that he had. Drink responsibly, but when you do drink, make sure to have some Breckenridge beer. Our friends, the official beer of DNVR. You know we love Breck beer, and we're drinking it out here. It's on tap pretty much everywhere we go, so you want to get some Breck brews. Find the beer locator over at breckbrew.com to get not just any Breck brew, but you can find this specific Breck brew that you're looking for. Check them out over at breckbrew.com.
And if you're here in Vegas and you want to go to the big game, check out our friends over at Game Time, where you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets for the next big event, which is the big game. Everybody wants to go to the big game. You got some great players in this game. And I think it's fun to be there to experience it. There's nothing like seeing your team win. There's nothing like seeing your team pull forward, even though the Broncos aren't in it. If you want to attend the big game, check out our friends over at Game Time using the code Vegas100 for $100 off the big game. But if you don't want to go to that, you don't want to see the Chiefs and you don't want to see the Chargers, you want to see an event or a Taylor Swift concert or a Sierra concert, you know, go check them out. Use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Right now, all Game Time users get $100 off with the big game ticket with code Vegas100. Terms apply. Just download the Game Time app. Again, the code is VEGAS if you know how to spell Vegas 100. $100 off the big game ticket.
You know who is going and probably paying full price to see Sierra? Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh.
I hope
Think it's front row?
I hope Russ isn't really paying to see her.
She's like, nah, man, you got to buy this ticket.
You know who might not be seeing Sierra in concert?
No.
Sean Payton, probably. Probably not.
He could be a Sierra guy.
We actually have a little clip of us and our night last night. You hear? Why don't you roll that right now?
Is this warm food?
This year, the NFL Media Party is at the Grand Prix racetrack. It's like in the race paddocks where the F1 cars were. Check this out. Like, this is the track. Like, the cars, bang, coming on down. Look at this dude. This dude's the biggest F1 fan. How cool is this shit?
The cars come out of this corner at like 180 miles an hour. It is wild.
This is the rock stars, dude.
Velvet soft lights, showgirls, gambling, food, drinks.
So that was the media party last night, which the Super Bowl host committee throws every year, and it's always insane, over the top, awesome.
Yeah.
Free food, unlimited drinks, and they held it at the what's it called? It's the
Grand Prix.
the
Grand Prix
Prix Plaza, which is they built for last year's F1 race.
Yeah.
For $500 million.
Yeah.
And so when we got there, we were a little worried because when we started, or last year's was entirely outside. And it was in Arizona, so it's like, okay, it's going to be nice enough. And it was just freezing. And we're outside for like 4 or 5 hours just in the cold. So we were a little worried that maybe this one's going to be outside. But we're like, no, it's at a $500 million building. It's going to be inside. But right as we're pulling up, we get a text from someone in our group that says it's mostly outside. Like, oh no, bring a coat. And we're just getting there. We don't have our coats. We are preparing to be freezing cold. We walk in and we're like, this is all outside. This is awful. And then someone in our group after like 20 minutes realized, wait, this is a Chinese New Year's party here.
Yeah.
Where's the Super Bowl party? Turns out Super Bowl party was inside, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that
it
was
is.
crazy.
It was dope. I was thoroughly surprised.
Yeah, somebody was just like, I think this might be like a Chinese New Year party, and I was like, looked around and was like, oh wow, like you have like the little red like things that kind of like hang down. You look around and nothing says Super Bowl anywhere, and you're just like, wait a minute, there is something up, and that was just the most confusing thing I've ever lived through. But yeah, party was insane. It's like 3 levels. First level's like F1 race stuff, like a whole bunch of cars, race cars. They had like a battle bot there, which is cool. Sometimes I forget I'm wearing this. Like, people look at me, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's weird. But yeah, and then second level, though, they had, like, it was, like, old Vegas themed. Top level, it's like a club.
Yeah, it was dope.
It was like a club. And I got to tell you about a special guest. After I tell you about another special guest, we've got Romi Bean joining us. But really quick, before you bring her on, I got to tell you about True Fan Travel, where they're going to be throwing a big Super Bowl party this week. If you're a DNVR listener in Vegas for the week and looking for an awesome experience to watch the game or tailgate before you got to check out Daylight Beach Club at Mandalay Bay. It's within walking distance of Allegiant Stadium. They're going to have 5-hour open premium bar, all-inclusive package. So if you want in, check them out. That's check them out with their VIP watch party or for the open invitation to their private cabana available. So check them out. That is our friends over at True Travel. We've got a link in our description. Romi Bean.
Bang.
How are you, my friend?
You know what? I finally made the DNVR cut.
Oh,
I will Venmo you later.
You have an open invitation.
I'm always trying. Toddy was like, oh.
No, I was like, hell yeah, we got to be on.
Well, you know what?
Because I found out something new today.
Exactly.
I did not know you were a cheerleader for the Broncos.
I was.
I never knew that.
Yes.
His mind was blown.
Yeah, I was so surprised.
Yeah, because we were just like, yeah, Super Bowl 50. We're talking Super Bowl 50. Like, Romeo was a cheerleader in that. And you're just like, what?
Yeah. Not that you couldn't do it. I know that you could do it.
Well,
I don't know are there many cheerleaders that are now in the media?
There's a few.
Okay.
I feel like the GOAT's Michelle Beisner-Buck.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Lauren Gardner.
Oh, of course, yep.
You know, I think those are the 3 from the Broncos cheerleaders. So not a ton, but it is funny because this just verifies. People ask all the time, like, do you guys hang out with the players? I'm like, no, we like live totally different worlds.
Lives. Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes don't. They're like, really? I'm like, no, really.
Yeah.
So and I transitioned into media like a little bit afterwards, and it was funny because I don't know why I thought, oh, maybe people would know. Like, nobody knew. Well, like, fans knew, but none of the players knew, you know? So,
and you did it, what was it, a year or two where you did both? You did media and cheerleading, and you were running around on game days.
Like crazy. It was 2016 was my last year, and I did, 2015 I started doing radio, and then 2016 I actually got a job in radio. So what I would do is after the game, we'd run off the field, we'd change the cheerleader locker rooms all the way on the other side.
Of course.
And then I'd run in for post game.
Dang.
And then just kind of get in. That was my first experience with the scrums and everything.
Yeah.
And when I think about it now, I must have looked hilarious because I had my cheerleader game day makeup on. I didn't think it was heavy at the time, but you look back, it was full face of makeup.
You sneak a notebook with you out on the field, make sure you know everything that's going on out there?
Well, it was always funny because we always say people become cheerleaders for different reasons, and I was a football junkie, and I also danced, so that helped. But I was I always wondered how could I get as close to the action because I can't play the game, and so that for me was the motivating factor. I could be on the sidelines for the games and be that close. So it was great. It was an excuse to I messed up the dances a couple times because I was
trying to look over your shoulder.
Trying to look and trying to watch the games. But I mean, what a gift to be on the sideline right there and hear every pop and crack in every play. I missed that part.
Dang,
was the coolest game you were ever at Super Bowl 50?
Okay, I would say obviously Super Bowl 50, but that AFC Championship game too at Mile High was unbelievable. I feel like they're both so great, but I remember the moment when it was okay, they're going to win Super Bowl 50. Oh my gosh, we're going to be world champions. And one of my friends actually caught that picture of I have just the dumbest look on my face. But I am a defensive stan, as you guys know. So for me, being on the sidelines during that 2015 team and watching you guys just game wreck was the best gift of all time. I'm such a defensive girly, so I can't think of a better experience.
Did you get a ring?
Oh, I did. They're
That's
smaller.
awesome.
They're like they're smaller. It might be similar to what the wives get, maybe not. I'm not sure, but it's kind of like a pendant. But yeah,
Okay.
so I got my own
That's
little
really cool.
my own little mini one.
Wives get rings?
I think I don't know.
You can
right?
purchase it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't have to
You gotta
purchase
pay
that one,
for it.
though.
No, you
okay.
I didn't have to pay for this.
Did you buy one for Xena?
I didn't.
Oh,
I
my
didn't.
goodness.
I don't know. Like it was just the timing. Like I was so young, and she was like she didn't think she would ever
Excuses.
wear it. So I was like, she said she didn't want it, so I didn't. I saved $20,000. I'm like, all right, I won't.
I guess that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Was that the first game you traveled to? Because I just found out this year that cheerleaders don't travel,
Yeah,
right?
they don't. It's actually funny. It used to be, I don't know if they still phrase it this way, but the NFL used to say it was a liability, which makes sense because in essence, you're there for your home crowd and you're dancing for your home crowd and trying to pump up your home crowd. Like, think about like the old Oakland Stadium. Like that would probably not be a safe environment for a bunch of cheerleaders from the other team to go, and you're trying to pump up a crowd and they're booing and throwing batteries at you. It doesn't make any sense. But so you go, the cheerleaders travel to anywhere that's like a neutral ground.
Okay.
So a Super Bowl game, or sometimes. I think the international games, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't go
I think so,
to the international game. They bring them. But yeah, so that was like the first one that I had traveled to. And it was the Super Bowl. It was just such an epic experience. It was
Man, that's
unbelievable. I got to bring my dad, which was the coolest part, because he made me a Broncos fan. He got me into football when I was little. So, man, it was the best.
That's dope.
Well, and then this week, you're not just doing hits for CBS Denver. Like, you're doing CBS national stuff. Like, every CBS station in the country is playing Romi.
Yeah. Deep regrets, I'm sure, that they're having.
Stop it. You're big time.
But it's been fun. This is actually my first Super Bowl
really?
covering as a media member. So it's crazy that today's 8 years ago today, because now I'm thinking all the feels. It's definitely different being a media member. But this has been fun, and it's been a good challenge because for me, I'm always so Denver hyper-focused, right? And so trying to find stories that are more of interest nationally and a national appeal, and somehow I still keep like bringing in Denver ties. I can't help it, but it's fun. It's a great challenge. So I've really been enjoying that.
You're like the it's the San Francisco 49ers playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 0-1 in their last game playing the Denver Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
In this Super Bowl. Is that how you're bringing Denver
You know
ties
what I
in?
love about Zach? Does anyone, nobody makes better Denver ties than Zach. Like I love Zach's tweets because I'm like, how did you find that very miscellaneous Denver angle? Only Zach. That's
Whenever
why we
there's
love
Chiefs
it.
news, it's the Broncos have a one-game winning streak over the Chiefs.
There you go.
Every
there
time.
you go. There you go.
Well, and I mean, I think it's obvious we're all rooting for the Niners, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
I
Without
like
a
to
doubt.
call them like Broncos West.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got Shanahan, you got
100%.
McCaffrey, you got John Lynch, you got Bobby T. It's like unbelievable,
Gregory.
right? You got Randy Gregory. I think there's like some scouting staff there. I mean, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
You
It is wild.
Yeah.
How do the Broncos get back to those glory days? Because unfortunately, we're looking back 8 years to see the last winning season.
That's crazy. That's
sad.
it's I was saying this to somebody yesterday. I'm sorry, I have a hair. You've seen teams like sell their souls for Super Bowl, if you will, right? Like the Rams went all out, but then they were back in the playoffs this year. It's like what has gone so wrong? But I think there's so many things, and you go back to those drafts, those early drafts, 2017, 2018, 2016. Like how many players are actually left, right, from those? And then of course nobody expected the Russell Wilson trade to go down like that.
Yeah.
But between that and the Sean Payton trades, you have all of those draft picks. Like all those players should be up and coming for you right now, and then all those first rounders that you got, cheap, so to speak, that are these superstars, you're missing 3 years of those. So the unfortunate part is I just don't feel like it's a quick fix, I feel like this year was the first time where I was like, okay, I feel like the groundwork has been laid. I feel like Sean Payton really did come in and lay that groundwork, and even when you talk about a winning culture, like we saw that change. There's stability, which there hasn't been since Gary Kubiak left after the 2016 season. So I do feel like for the first time there is a strong foundation. But I think that obviously you got to get the quarterback. in this day and age. We know this. But there's other holes you got to fill, right? Got to get tight end. How about a slot receiver, right? There's another running back, offensive line. There's so many things that they're going to have to fill that they're going to have to play Moneyball a little bit. You're going to have to find ways to be savvy, and teams can do it, but you got to be smart because you don't have a ton of draft picks this year either. And I don't know, do you bunch a few and jump up and get a quarterback, and then again, you got another small draft class. So I just feel like none of us want to be patient anymore, but it's still, I think it's going to start building, but I do think it's not, next year we're not going Super Bowl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, really?
You know, maybe. I did. So I was playing on that slot machine over there, and you could bop it, and they changed it to like the Broncos, and it hit Super Bowl on the 4th one. So in 4 years, guys.
There we go.
Book it.
There we go.
Book your tickets. The slot machine over there said the Broncos were in the Super Bowl in 4 years.
I love it.
Slot machine don't lie.
No,
Don't lie.
of course
Never.
not. No, and they always pay out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I actually, I guess I shouldn't say how much money I put into that machine yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Made 56 cents.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, 56 cents.
I'll tell you what happened. So they were like, yeah, we can rig it up so it'll hit jackpot on the first time. So I was on live TV, and I was like, I came out, I interviewed Tony Romo yesterday, which was like really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he felt like he was talking to, Sean Payton, and feels like they have a great future because of it. So I come out and I'm like, yeah, see, Tony Romo said they hit the jackpot with Sean Payton. And I go like this, and it's like nothing. And I was like, all right, let's keep trying.
Was it a live hit?
It was on live TV, yeah. And I like they said it was going to jackpot the first time. So I was like, the Broncos are going to go to the Super Bowl. 4 years.
That's
We
awesome.
did.
That's awesome. I know, we were going to try Trick Todd with that, too.
Why?
Because like you said, like they can rig it to jackpots. So we're just gonna say like, yeah, they're like giving everybody like a $5 free bet, and like I was gonna go miss, and then she was just
Todd, we put the free bet in already. All you have to do is hit it.
Just hit the button.
Went crazy.
What'd you do with your 56 cents though?
So the problem is you actually can't cash that out anywhere. They won't just give you 56 cents. So I just have a little ticket that says like I can put it in a machine. I get 56 more cents in the machine. So I guess I'm gonna gamble it.
Let's do it tonight.
Give me money for it. I feel like that's a crime. Like they should have
they
to
should give
give
you your
me
money back,
if I want my money. Like,
do you think it's because it's less than $1 or like?
Probably.
Because they paid you out in the cash.
Yeah,
for
no,
like the money that you put in.
I got
they
my
paid
20s
it out.
and then I just print out the ticket. It's a 56-cent ticket.
20s, not 100s. 100s weren't coming out of that machine.
And better than 5s.
That's true.
Yeah.
There you go. Romy, it has been awesome to have you on. You downplay yourself so much. You are big time.
Big time. Big
and,
money.
What we always like promote, and probably should be promoting Instagram even more, but you're everywhere. You're on Twitter. You're on Instagram. You're on YouTube.
I'm trying.
have you're everywhere. So make sure to give Romi Bean a follow, and then obviously just turn on TV and not just in Denver, anywhere you're gonna see Romi Bean.
And tell
this week,
CBS that she's doing a great job.
Yeah,
Get that hype
them know,
going.
you
Yes,
know?
definitely.
The bosses need to know because I
Yes.
think I just bother them. But you know what? I finally feel big time now because I finally made it on the show.
Let's go.
This is the best show.
You have an open invite
You guys are the
any
best.
day, not just this week, any day ever.
I mean, I don't got to tell
We
your
love you.
audience because I know it, but this is, right? Am I right? This is the best in Colorado. Like, nothing holds a candle. You guys are the best. It's so fun to see you guys all the time. And
We're talking
thanks
to
for
the
having
best.
me
We're
on.
talking to the best.
Seriously.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Romy,
you.
for joining
And
us.
you know what, Toddy? It was great to share Super Bowl 50 with you, even though you didn't know.
Absolutely. I didn't know, but it was that much better now.
It was amazing. You know what? I just found, do you guys have to go?
No?
No.
I just went through because you said it, and I was like, I'm going to post to Instagram like 8 years ago today, and my favorite picture, I got a picture DT up on stage.
Yeah.
One of these,
that is
So
awesome.
it's fun scrolling through, and the after party was fun. And,
Heck yeah.
What a
Did
time.
you go to the one at the hotel or the one in? Which one did? Oh.
The one that you guys. Maybe not the after party.
Okay.
The one that
was at the
was
hotel.
it Flo Rida? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wade was
Yeah.
Wade dancing on stage doing
Yeah,
chicken wing.
He was grooving.
Bro, I want to see Wade Phillips doing the chicken dance with Flo Rida so badly.
Yeah. Good time.
I have a video of it. You guys might not know this, but I love Wade Phillips to like an unhealthy level.
How could you not?
I think if I ever saw him, I just want him to be my uncle or my grandpa.
Oh,
I love that man so much. So
He's a good dude.
I have a lot of videos and photos of Wade in my phone. When he went and he coached for the Rams, I went down to like the tunnel where the visitor coaches come out, and there's somebody who used to work in TV who's in a different market now. She was like videoing me. He came out. I was like, Wade! And he like looked like he was like, hello. And I was like,
Are you still in touch with Wade at all? Because he was only there 1 year, right?
No,
or I
Wade
guess you're
was
2
there
years.
for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think, 2 years.
The first year was always the best with him.
By the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, because he
by
always
the
went to the
numbers,
Super Bowl, right?
Yeah,
Was
it
that
was it was
Pretty much.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
wherever
crazy.
he went, he had like an elite defense the first year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a good dude.
Because it's a pretty simple defense, too. Like, it's
Yeah,
a
you
lot
just
of
have to
man
have the
coverage.
players.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have players that execute it, you can be successful. But like, there's not too much complication within the plays.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're elite?
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's what everybody always said. With like, you had to have the guys because he kind of just let you guys go ball, but
Yeah.
you had to be smart enough to do that.
Exactly.
Best
Yeah.
defense. Do you get annoyed? You know when people do like best defenses of all time, and sometimes they don't put 2015 Broncos in
Yeah, I
there,
don't
and
know
I'm
how
like,
you, I don't know
excuse
how
me.
you can't. Yeah,
No.
you gotta
Yeah.
include
Right?
it. Yeah.
You have to.
Got to.
It
So
is
good.
so wild that a team won a Super Bowl with a quarterback that had 9 touchdowns to 17 interceptions.
Crazy.
And it's even crazier that that guy was Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
would have never thought.
It's so crazy. I actually I did a story over at Caesar Sportsbook, and the guy was a Panthers fan, and he was like, man, that crushed my soul, and I was like, it was
Gotcha.
a great day. But he was saying like and I remember leading up to that game, like he was saying Panthers and their fans and everyone were like so confident,
Yeah,
like they
they
were
were so
15-1, like they were just crushing everyone all season long, and and I remember on our side I kept being like, they're not ready for this defense,
Yep.
but it was, obviously Peyton Manning is the GOAT, but.
Yep.
Obviously not one of his best seasons, just a testament to what that defense was able to do and how he was able to game management so you guys could play your best, right?
Totally.
Exactly. Like I said before on the show, like P didn't do everything right, but he did what we needed to when we needed him to, the most. So he was able to manage and get it done, and that's all we cared about. So he did fine in our book.
Man, I love that you call him P.
Yeah.
Is that what everyone called him?
P Money.
Yep. Yeah, okay.
So, like,
okay.
if we saw him and we were like, P Money, you think he'd be cool with that?
He'd be like, oh, are we friends? Yeah.
He'd
like,
probably
what?
dap you like, "What's up, dog?"
Todd said I could say it.
Right, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of Super Bowl 50, really quick, last thing. Did you see Cam Newton is walking around here today?
Is he floating around?
Yeah,
He is.
and maybe if we talk loud enough about it, he'll just get pissed off
he'll
like
walk
he did
away.
last time.
Yeah.
Walk away, exactly. Yeah, because that's what happened after
Yeah.
the Super
I
Bowl.
wonder if you knocked his phone out of his hand, would he dive for it or would he let you
Oh,
grab it?
yeah.
Somebody else is picking
That's
it
your,
up.
that's your
Take it.
phone.
Yeah, or his wallet. You could probably take it.
Yeah.
We'd go gambling with
That
that.
is incredible. Oh my goodness, this has been awesome. And actually, we're just going to wrap the show here with our friend Romi. But one thing to tell Romi and everyone, we're having a little party tonight for our friends, that we haven't met that are in Vegas. If you're a fan, if you're media, if you're one of our friends, we'd like to have you out at Circa tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. We have an RSVP link on our Twitter page, so DNVR_Broncos. Click on that RSVP, and free drinks too. So find out all the details over at our Twitter page. It's going to be at Circa from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight. Romi, we'd love to see you.
Dude, hey, we will be there.
Heck
I
yes.
love it.
Let's go.
This has been an awesome show, mainly because of you
Thanks
joining
for having
us.
me
Thank
on.
you
Thanks
so
for letting me
much.
prolong my stay.
Oh my
you were
gosh.
like, thanks.
You're
I was like,
welcome
just kidding.
whenever. And Romi will be on all day tomorrow and all day Friday
Anytime.
and all next
Yeah,
week as
let's
well.
do it.
Yeah. Yes, and then you get a contract. There we go. Happy Super Bowl 50, Todd, and to all
thank
of
you.
Broncos
Thank
country
you.
out there. Thank you so much for rolling with us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks for tuning in.
We all silly like the mayor.